Hi everyone, good evening, and this is your us again. My name is Ejiro Mantulai Koko, your host on scholarship. Let's talk scholarship, and with me is our regular, the people's mentor. Okay,
Hi
Obuchi.
everyone. Hi everyone. Nice to be here again. Yeah. Think sorry for starting a little bit late. We're trying to set things up, but we're here now, so hope it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we hope so too. Good. So the usual, it's good to know where our others are joining us from. So just pop on the chat, possibly your name, where you're joining in from, and feel free to drop your questions, and we answer it along the way. I think we have someone else joining us backstage, and yeah, Diana, could you please turn on your camera? And so please feel free to drop your name and where you're joining in from. Okay, Diana, sorry. Diana, hi. Hi. I think you're muted. Diana, you're muted. Okay, so Bichi, I think you should go on. Yeah, that's fine. So today we're going to talk about from the last section we had last week, we addressed some questions that we could, and one of the popping questions that we could not attend to was the statement of purpose, and we promised that today's section will be on statement of purpose. But if for any reason you have other questions, feel free to drop it. We'll try to attend as much as we can. And just so you know, we also have a section tomorrow, which is like Q&A section. So any questions you have, just so you determine the program for tomorrow. 1 hour. So ask your questions. We're here to guide you, give you what we think we can to help you transition smoothly. So Buchi, I think you can start sharing your screen, or if it's already shared. Yeah, I think so. So hi to our Facebook audience, hi to our LinkedIn audience, hi to our YouTube audience. Feel free to drop in your questions and where you're joining from. Yeah, Buchi, over to you. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, just to let us know, today's session will be talking about a statement of purpose, or what everyone calls the SOP. And I think we've put in a small presentation together just to try to gather some of the major points. Yeah, so we'll walk through the slides, and then at the end we'll have a quick question and answer, just so uh, people can drop their questions. But as the session goes on, you can always drop your questions in the chat, and we can always come back to them later. So yeah, so the next thing is, what is an SOP? So some of us that might be new, or maybe they've not had much experience in postgraduate applications, may not know exactly what an SOP is. SOP stands for Statement of Purpose, but we'll try to give like a general overview of it. And in different situations, it can be called different things. And people always ask this question of uh, how should I write my SOP? What does an SOP look like? What is a standard SOP? And those are some of the kind of questions we're going to try to answer in this session. So yeah, I and my fellow speakers will be providing some insights. So common statements you might come across during your applications will include things like the statement of purpose, personal statement, statement of research, research statement, a research proposal. These are just different statements that you may be asked to write. And usually is one or the other. You're not usually asked to write all of them. So it's either they ask you for a statement of purpose, or a personal statement, or a statement of research, a research statement, a research proposal, or something else, or a different type of statement. But basically, they usually ask you to write some form of statement. And there's not there are subtle differences between the five of them, but most of the time, whenever you're asked for a statement, they usually specify exactly what the statement is for, the purpose, the reason why you're writing the statement, or the content that the statement should contain. Sometimes there are guidelines, sometimes there are no guidelines, and sometimes it depends on the context. So things like the research statement or research proposal are usually when you're pursuing a postgraduate degree in a research field, so it's a PhD or a research master's degree, what they call a master's of research or master's or MPhil or different things. So those ones basically means you have an intended research and then they want to know about your intended research. But the statement of purpose or the personal statement are more common or more universal, and they are used for most courses, whether research based or coursework based or any type of postgraduate degree. It's usually just a statement that tells them basically who you are, where you're coming from, why you want to study, what your mission is. So just like the name says, it's a statement of purpose. What is the purpose? Why do you want to do this study? Because when you do a postgraduate degree, you are not studying for studying's sake. You're usually studying for a particular reason. And so you need to keep some of these things in mind while you're preparing some of your statements. And so for this presentation, I'll be talking more on the master's perspective, while my colleague will be talking more on the PhD perspective, because there are some sort of differences between the statement you write when you're applying for a master's degree and when you're applying for a PhD degree. But like I said, there's no real standard, internationally recognized standard format for these things. So I put in this disclaimer just so we are clear that there's no recognized standard practice for writing your statement, and every statement is unique and dependent on the use and the intended audience. So like I've been saying, there's no super template for writing a statement. There's no super format that this is what it should be. It really depends on what the the use of the statement is and who's reading the statement. So like I said, if you're writing a statement to a potential supervisor, you're going to need to customize your statement towards your personal supervisor. If you're writing a statement for a generalized admissions team, you're going to need to customize your statement to a generalized admission process. If you're writing a statement for a scholarship, you're going to need to customize your statement to fit into the purpose of that scholarship. So you just need to know that whatever we're saying here today is more of a generalized opinion. We'll give pointers, but then there's nothing set in stone. So you need to also discover what works for whoever or whatever purpose your statement is going for. Yeah. So I just want to state a few things to keep in mind when you're looking at your statement. These are just basic things. The first one is it's usually better to have everything in one page or 1.5 pages. So 500 to 800 words is fine on a general note if no word count is specified. If a word count is specified and they say 1,000 words, then you have more room to write more things. If a word count is specified and it's less than 500 words, then you have to write less. And they always specify the word count to fit what they are looking for. So if the word count is smaller, it means they don't need you to write much. If the word count is larger, it means they want you to write much. But if no word count is specified, just aim for a page or a page and a half. The second point is you can try to cut down the number of words you write by eliminating information that is available in other documents you are submitting alongside your application. So if you're submitting something like a transcript that contains your CGPA, you may not need to mention it in your personal statement unless you want to make a point out of it. If you are submitting a CV that contains all of your work experience, then you may not need to mention a lot of work experience in your statement unless you want to highlight one or two that are very relevant to a point you want to make. So you can only, to like it says on the slide, only repeat information if you need to stress a relevant point. So if there's information about your courses you studied, your CGPA, and stuff like that in other documents that you're submitting alongside the statement, then you can, and you have limited words to write your statement, then you can focus more on bringing in other things into your statement and not essentially repeating that information again and using up the words that you have. Now, the last point on this slide says each paragraph should communicate a different message. And this is a standard practice in writing in general. It's not just about statement of purpose. When you're writing things, when you break paragraphs, it's because each paragraph has a different message to communicate. And then if you know your literary works, where you know that each paragraph should have a linking sentence between one paragraph and the other, and there should be a flow between paragraphs. So you need to also maintain that type of literary prowess when you're writing this statement, so that it's an easy document to read. And the whole point is when someone reads your statement of purpose or your personal statement, the person should come off after reading the document having an idea of who you are. That is the whole point. So when they say personal statement, it's usually more personal. So I think they use personal statement in places where they want to know you more. They're not really expecting you to talk much about the future. It's more about who are you now, what are you aiming to achieve. They don't maybe not too much about your future plans. But when they say a statement of purpose, maybe you need to emphasize more the purpose of you studying, what you envision to be you will do in the future with your studies. So you have to have some kind of plans in there. But they are also used interchangeably. So sometimes someone can say a statement of purpose when they actually mean a personal statement, and they can say a personal statement when they actually mean a statement of purpose or something like that. There's no standard definition. But the whole point is when you're writing, you need to use your paragraphs wisely. So my preferred style, this is a personal view, is to use the 4-paragraph system, which will come up in the next slides.
Okay, so let me just speaking of personal statement, let me just go back because we have audiences. Let's just say hello. So we have Vivian, hi to you. From Facebook, we have Blessing from Malawi, hi to you. We have Elia from Uganda, hello to you. So please feel free. We have Julius from Zambia, wow, and we have Hazan from Uganda, and etc. So please feel free to drop your questions and let us know where you're joining from. So this is just to make sure that we are all moving together. We also have Faith from Malawi. Okay, so I think I'll let you continue now.
Okay, yeah, thank you. It's nice to see that we have a good audience listening, and you're all
Yeah,
welcome. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
welcome.
So feel free to always pop your questions in the chat. So if I say something that's not clear, or if you have anything that you need clarifying, just put in the chat and we'll get back to it. So yes, I was talking about paragraphs. Yes, I think we all know what a paragraph is, so I'm not going to go into that. But like I said, each paragraph is supposed to communicate a particular message so it's supposed to hold you. And one other thing is that the amount of detail or the amount of words, the way you distribute it across the paragraphs is also important, depending on the kind of message you want to push ahead or you want to push along. So, like if you're trying to sell more about how you developed interest in the field, maybe one paragraph will have more thoughts on that. Then another paragraph may talk about your work. But I'm going to go briefly into the 4-paragraph system, which is my personal preferred style. I mean, I've seen statements with 3 paragraphs. I've seen statements with 5 paragraphs. It's not wrong. Like I said, most of the time they only give you a word count, but you need to also break it into paragraphs. So you can choose what works best for you depending on the purpose. So we go to paragraph 1. So for this style, paragraph 1, you talk about your past, how you developed interest in the chosen area, and previous study, usually an undergraduate degree. But if you have a master's too, you can also mention it here. So what is the idea here? The idea is you're writing a statement that's supposed to be an introduction to who you are. So you start from your background. You don't need to start from when you were born. You just need to start from the part of your background that's relevant. So if the most relevant part of your background is your undergraduate degree, you can start from there. If the most relevant part of your background is your master's degree, you can start from there. If the most relevant part of your background is your work, you can start from there. So it really depends on how you want to introduce yourself into the story. Because remember, you're writing this thing with something in mind. There's an end goal. There's a postgraduate degree you want to do, and when you want to do a postgraduate degree, there's a purpose behind why you're doing that postgraduate degree. And so you need, your whole point is, if you say you want to do a degree in this, okay, how did you even hear about this course? What interests you? Why do you think this course will be necessary? So let's say you want to do something in community medicine, and it's because you worked in a place where there was you worked in a community that suffer from poor health care when you are doing a kind of volunteer thing. So you can start from there. That
Mm-hmm.
you did this volunteer opportunity at so place. While you were there, you had this experience, that experience, you led this team, you led that team, stuff like that. And then that led you into developing interest into this field. And then moving on from there, you went to work here, or you went to study this and this, that. And then now you've now decided to pursue this degree because, and so on and so forth. So it's your story. You know how best to tell your story. But the
So
point is, you need to have some sort of background.
I can help throw more light. So let me give an example of my story, because this things, when you give examples, it's always easier for people to relate. So I'm studying transportation. I'm doing a PhD in transportation, and Lagos, when I was growing up, had a lot of traffic congestion, especially the road leading to the airport, seaports, the Apapa port. So the traffic congestion, always waiting, always spending hours. If I go to school, I just have to walk to school to try to beat the traffic, because I cannot sit in the vehicle. I'll be so late. So that's kind of spiked my interest for transportation. Okay, how can I help this congestion issue? So from there, they're going to competition on how to do the congestion, or how to help improve transportation. And from there, I'm like, okay, fine, I want to study transportation. So in my bachelor's, I studied transportation. And when I went to my NYC, I happened to work in a university whereby they're like, okay, you're a transport student. Okay, let's see what you can do for my university. So I was also trying to work with them, and from there, like, okay, I think I need to do more, have more knowledge in transportation. So I went for a master's degree and a PhD degree, and my interest was growing. So this it's quite simple. It's not magic. Something simple. Anything. So just think back. What led to what? Was it someone that told you about something that sparked your interest, or did you watch a movie, or did you have an experience? It can be anything. Yeah, or like some people did. Some people said, okay, maybe their parents were sick, so they want to become a doctor to help. So think back. Yes, you can relate. Yeah. So that's just. I hope that's helpful to someone. So please feel free to drop your questions. Okay, we're here to answer your questions.
Yeah, I think I liked that movie reference because I've read a statement where someone
Oh,
said that they saw something in the movie and it seemed very interesting, and from there they went to
oh.
Google and they started researching, and that's those are very interesting stories to read because you're like, oh, okay, you know,
So wait, my story is not interesting.
it's
Wait,
no,
did you
no,
wait? Oh my god, I don't understand you. My
that's
story is not interesting.
that's not
Okay,
what I'm saying.
what are you saying?
I'm,
Please,
I'm just saying that something that you think something as trivial as a movie you think may
yeah.
not even make sense, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but it's an authentic story.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
It's
exactly.
an authentic story, and when you
Yeah,
say it that way, the reader gets interested because, oh, okay, what's this?
yeah,
Maybe your reader may even go and see the movie just to,
yeah,
it's one of those things. So it brings more authenticity to your story.
yeah,
That thing is be authentic. Don't make
yeah.
things up.
Yeah, that's the thing. So once it's your story, it's personal, then you're authentic. Please,
Yeah.
this program is going to run for an hour, and we are just 20 minutes into it. So please drop your questions. We are happy to answer it while we keep explaining things. So please drop your questions if you have any, or if you're not clear of anything. Super chick, I think we need to move on so
Yeah.
we can have time for questions a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said before, any relevant childhood or school experience can be brought into paragraph one. And then we move over to paragraph two. So, paragraph two, okay, I say get more technical. Talk about relevant work experience you've had. paid or volunteer experience can come in here, then link it to the problem you have noticed in the sector. So in the first paragraph, like I said, is general introduction, can be anything. Then in paragraph 2 is kind of let's get down to business kind of thing. So if you've done any relevant work experience that is related to what you want to study, this is where you talk about it. Before maybe you've said you worked here and you saw that, but this time around maybe you did a particular task. So this is where you use the SMART and the STAR approach, try to level things out. When you did this at this place, or when you volunteered in this experience, you saw that this was the problem. You try to quantify the problem, give a background of the problem, because whenever you're studying a postgraduate degree, it's because you want to be a part of the solution to a problem. So this is where you bring that problem into the limelight. You worked in this sector, you did this task, you struggled with this thing, you discovered that you needed more knowledge in order to contribute here, contribute there. That's paragraph 2. So paragraph 1 is, oh, this is how I picked interest. Paragraph 2 is, this is what I'm doing now in the field. These are the things I've done. Because you can't say you got interest in something and you've not done anything because you're just waiting to do the degree. No, you have to have had something that you've done. You've taken a course, you've done some work experience, you've done some volunteering, you've done some research, whatever it is. Just this is the part where you bring the technical part of it out. Begin to talk about the problem, the course you want to study, link them both together. Yeah.
So before you move further, so you mentioned something. You said the STAR approach. So for people that don't know what they call the STAR approach, it's called STAR: situation, task, action, result. So in simple terms, what was the situation? Maybe somebody was sick. What was the task? To help the person to the hospital, or to make the person get well, whatever it is. And what's the action? Okay, so I took the person to the hospital, or I called a boss, so I called an Uber or something. What was the result? The person saw the doctor and took medication and got better. Do you understand? And some people might want to stretch it further and say, okay, what did you learn from the situation? You can say, okay, maybe if I had known, I would have called an Uber instead of using the public transport, would have got there on time. So the STAR approach is just your situation, your task, your action, and your result. It is quite simple. It helps you to be articulate and concise. I mentioned the 7 C's of communication: concise, conciseness, correct, complete. So go and do your research about that. So back to Pichi. I just want to keep in. So drop your
Yeah.
questions, please. Drop your questions. I believe you have questions, or drop your contributions. We're here for you. So proceed. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that's clear enough. And then you move over to the 3rd paragraph. So things are getting interesting now.
Okay.
So here
So
you
before,
talk.
yeah. So I go on. That's fine.
Okay. So in paragraph 3, you talk about how the proposed course helps in solving the problem and your career prospects around the proposed course. You show the direction you want to go towards. Not much need for in-depth details here. So you don't need to give the nitty-gritty of how you want to proceed with your career, because obviously you may not be sure about that. But you need to show some kind of aspiration. Make it clear that you understand the prospects of the course you are choosing. So you've said your background and you've talked about some of the things you've done and things that you're currently doing in the field and why you want to pursue a degree. And now you need to talk about why that degree is relevant. So it's not just by saying you have a problem and then I want to do this degree. How are you sure that this degree that you want to do is actually relevant to this problem that you're trying to pursue? So you need to show them the link between whatever problem or whatever experience you've already had, whatever goals you want to achieve, and the course that you're actually applying for. So, or if it's a scholarship, the scholarship that you are applying for, you need to provide that link. What is the link between this whole thing that you've been talking about in your background and us? Because obviously you're applying to either the university giving the course, the scholarship that's going to fund the course, the professor that's going to take over the research, whatever that is. So you need to tell him or her how they connect into the stories you've been telling before. So you need to provide that link. Studying this course at this place gives you the prospect to do this, to do that. You're going to learn this, you're going to learn that, you know. You need to provide a clear picture, and then based on that, you will be able to do this and do this and do this and do that. So it's a story. Like I said, it's a story. There has to be a flow between where you started, how you picked interest, what you're currently doing, and what you want to achieve, so that it all matches together. Because obviously, the people offering the course or offering the scholarship are looking for certain people to fulfill some certain criteria. This is the place where you go into those details of it. But like I said, if you're submitting this document along with other documents, you need to know what to highlight and what to mention and what to leave on the sidelines. Yeah. Hey, Joe, do you want to add anything?
Yeah. So just to add to that, in terms of career prospect, in terms of how it's going to benefit you or whatever it is you want to write, please do not write doing these things will help me change the world. We know you have to change the world, but how? Please, I rather, if I want to bet my money, I rather bet money on someone I want to cut down a tree. That's when I want to change the world. How do you want to change the world now? Tell me how. You understand? So you might, like you say, you might not have everything in details, but you should have an idea. And don't feel scared. These things can change over time. So just write something too. Because don't feel that the fact you write this is what you want to do, then you must do it. No, because when you get admission, when you get into the system, you might get exposed and okay, no, you can this is better, this is better. So don't feel that what if I don't want to do this thing and I can write it? Just write it. At least they know that you understand, you are thinking in the right direction. You have an idea of what you want to do and how this course benefits what you want to do. Okay, Richie, I think we can go on.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's an important point. You just need to show that you actually understand what you are trying to get yourself into. That's just the whole point.
Yeah. Please go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the whole point is the reader already knows that you're not an expert because you've not studied the course. So they don't expect you to give an expert level answer, but you need to have some sort of idea of what you're getting yourself into, and that's what you're going to try to communicate. That these are your own prospects for coming into this program, whether it's a scholarship, whether it's an admission, whether it's a research project, whatever it is. You need to communicate that you fully understand what you're trying to get yourself into, and these are the expectations that you also have of this thing.
Yeah. So I just want to add something. So can you go back to your last slide, please? I mean, previous slide, the last one. Yeah. So you mentioned but make it clear that you understand the prospect of the course and also you're choosing blah blah blah. So I want to mention this. On nothing is most people don't even do research of what the course, the dynamics behind the course. Please go to the website and go and look at the course and see possibly what's the structure of the course, what does the program entails. Because don't just think, oh, I want to study mechanical engineering, or every school have the dynamics behind the course. So at least you want to know that you actually understand what you want to go into. So it doesn't hurt you to just have a quick scan on the course on the website and understand it. Yeah, so I just want to mention that. And we had a mentor, Tione, she just left. I was hoping to introduce her very soon. I hope she joins us back in. Okay, Richie, please. Please drop your questions. We are waiting to answer your questions. We don't want to just talk to ourselves. We want to respond to your questions.
Okay. Yeah. So moving on to the fourth paragraph. So how do you wrap this whole thing up? So you've already said a lot. You've told them the background, where you got your interest from, what you're currently doing, the kind of experience you have, what you aim to achieve, and how this course is important. And then in paragraph 4, you can talk about the institution and why it's the best place for you to study the course. So this is when you're applying for admission to an institution. If you're applying for a scholarship, you can talk about the scholarship and why it is an important part of your success journey that you are trying to achieve. You can mention core modules that the institution offer, the course offers, key academic staff that specialize in your chosen area, advanced facilities or equipment available in the institution, if that's relevant, the school or the program's global ranking, and if that is relevant. So this place, you mix and match a lot of things. The important thing is you've answered where you're coming from, you've answered where you are, what you're doing, you've answered what you want to do and how that's relevant. And so the next question is, you've answered why you. Now the next question you need to answer is why them. Why are you choosing their institution? Why are you choosing this scholarship body? Why are you choosing this supervisor? Why are you choosing this person? There has to be a reason for everything. You've given the reason why you're interested in the field. You've given the experience that you have and your current standing and why you think a postgraduate degree will be relevant. You've given why you think that this studying this degree is the best thing for you and what you aim to achieve with it. Out of 1,001 institutions in the world where you could have gone, why did you choose these people? You need to make it clear.
So
And this is
I think
and this is
that's why. So I think that was the question I was trying to address. So I think I was ahead of you. So sorry. So you can
okay.
continue. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So you need to communicate why you've chosen them, why you think they are the best fit. This is the place where you really customize the statement to fit properly into the exact context. Why have you chosen this school? Is there a particular lab? Is there a particular researcher? Is there a particular module that they offer? Are there any other attractive things that they have on their program that you think is of serious benefit? So this is where that research comes in. You need to seriously go dig deep. When you do this, sometimes when you write these statements, it also helps you to be in perspective of exactly what you want to do. Because sometimes, you may think that you have it all figured out in your head, but when you put pen to paper and you start writing these things and you start trying to ask yourself some of these relevant questions, you begin to say, oh, I was thinking that this university was my first choice, but after doing this research and writing this statement, it's looking like this other university is actually the better choice to go to. So maybe I should put these people as my first choice and maybe have these other people now as third. Things like that come up when you write this kind of statement. So yeah, so think about why you are applying to whoever you are applying to. What makes them the best people to apply to? You need to let them know that you understand them, their role, their contribution, and why they are attractive. Yeah. Adrian, do you want to touch on that before we conclude? And that's the fourth paragraph already.
Yeah, I think that's fine. For me, what I do also, I try to see if there are some key professors or lecturers in that module on that course, and also go and I go do like the extra. Also go and do like a Google search or LinkedIn search on them and see what kind of project they do, and also add it if it's something that interests me. So like what you said, and also possibly some courses have field works or they have internship or the whole dynamic of the course. Or some also have possibly um, workshop sections. So you would not know this until you explore the website to know how the course is. And what's also funny, some courses are just exam based, while some are essay based. When I mean essay based, your coursework. You don't have exam, but you write essays, and that's what they used to grade you. So all this whole dynamics, you understand, you need to go through and understand it. Yeah. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very important things. You just need to show that you have, because obviously if it's a competitive application, the person that shows that he has done more research in terms of what the funding
Mhm.
body or the school has to offer is obviously the person that's going to convince the admissions team or the selection committee that they are the right fit, because they've actually gone through it all and checked everything and okay, yes, this person ticks this box, person has mentioned this, he understands this point, okay, this is somebody that we want to connect with. Like I said in the beginning, this statement is an introduction of who you are to whoever the selection committee. So when you show them that they've known you and you know them, then you've created a virtual handshake that shows that we can work together. So that's the kind of purpose behind this thing. And if it's the kind of one you're writing maybe to a supervisor, then this is also a very important part where you need to show that you understand the kind of research that the supervisor is into, or if it's a research group or a research lab you're writing to, that you understand the kind of work that they do, you understand the output of research that they're expecting, you understand the dynamics behind the research, you've read some of their research papers, you can also throw it in there. You can throw in one or two papers that you think caught your eye, just to support the point. Yeah. So those are some of the kind of things that you can throw in to garnish your statement. Yeah. And so I think that brings us to virtually the end, the 4-paragraph system. So there are some additional points that I just put here. Depending, you can also add why the country or region is a good place to study the course, if there's space or if it's more relevant than the institution itself.
Yeah. Kind of what
For
counts. So no,
example,
yeah.
if you can't find strong reasons why you picked that institution over others, the strong reason might actually be the country or the region or the state. For example, if you're studying nuclear energy in a state that has a nuclear plant, that might actually be a stronger reason why you want to come to this place to study, because the nuclear facility is there, the nuclear organizations are there, the university has a close relationship between these people, so you can study and work in the field or experience the field at the same time. If you're studying something like maritime, you're studying something like supply chain, and then you're in a city that has a shipping yard, you have the coast or whatever. Those can be, or you're studying marine biology and then you have a city that's on the coast. Those are some strong points that you can also bring out, because it means that you can study and experience at the same time, and that can also be a strong point to throw in. So it still depends on the context. Like I've said at the beginning, it's all about context, really. So you need to choose what are the strong selling points at the end of the day and how to include them. So yeah, I think that's most of it. So Edro, do you want to touch on this point before we conclude?
Oh no. I just want us to get to the where people start asking questions because we want to hear from them. Yeah. So I'm fine.
Okay, if that's fine, then thank you for listening.
Any question?
Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Kuchi. That was a brilliant presentation talk. So please, we are here to answer your questions. If you're not clear about anything, today is for statement of purpose, but it's fine. If you have other questions, you can pop it in and we can try to address what we can. And it's also good if you can join the section tomorrow, where we have just Q&A section. Just come and ask any questions, or you're not clear of something, you need an opinion. Please ask a question. So while we wait for question to pop up, somebody asked this question and said, please kindly make the recorded version available after the section. So this is a YouTube channel, so you can always go back and watch the replay. So on a Lapo Sunday, our advice, you can always go back to watch the section that's is on YouTube. It's live. You can always go back to watch it at a convenient time. And I also advise you can subscribe so you can get notifications. So you can also explore other videos in the channel. We have a lot of sections we've done for the past couple of years. So and also last year. So you can watch and learn a lot. So if you have questions, drop your questions. I just want to say hi to I saw some people that I know. Bartolome, hi. I know this person. I also know Azomta, hi. So no, I will not say that. I will not say hi to who you know. If you at least know them, let's say hi. So you get okay. So this question came up. I think this was addressed at the beginning. Do you want to take this?
Uh, yeah. So like I said,
We have
it's
someone joining us now.
yeah.
Hi,
Yeah, how are you?
good to have
Paulo,
you here.
good to have you.
Yeah,
Welcome.
okay. Sorry, we had a network problem.
No worries. I think you made it.
No, it's
Yeah,
How's
okay.
Tanzania? How's
and
Tanzania
I'm
doing?
happy to see you guys.
Okay. So I guess we just had a good presentation of about answering questions. So the question is on the screen. So because are
Yes.
about to attempt to answer, then you can also chip in. All right, Bichi.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
So like I said, I'm going to be wary of the kind of answer I give to this question
Yeah, disclaimer.
because SOP and PS can be statement of
Personal
purpose and
statement.
personal statement can be
Yeah.
used interchangeably. Sometimes some people use them to mean the same thing. Sometimes some people use them to mean different things. And usually when they are used differently or when there's a particular purpose behind it, they won't just tell you write a PS or write an SOP. There will be some other pointers. Tell us
Yeah.
about write a statement of purpose talk about this, talk about that, talk about this, talk about that. They will outline the points that they want to see. And then that will now guide you to write. That's why I said it's about the paragraphs. It's not really about the title, SOP and PS, because no one is going to tell you to write an SOP and then write a PS. No one's going to tell you to submit both an SOP and a PS. So no one's going to ask for a statement of purpose and also ask for a personal statement at the same time. So one document can actually be a statement of purpose and a personal statement. However, I would only say this: if there's no form of prompt, it means that they just want you to write. So in this case, if they ask you for a statement of purpose, you can decide to give more weight to your aspirations. So if you're writing, maybe the paragraph that contains why you want to do this course and what you want to achieve with the course can have more words than others, just to show the purpose for which you're pursuing this course. Then if you're writing a personal statement, maybe you want to lay more emphasis on the background where you're coming from and what you've done in the past or what you're currently doing, because that's more personal, because you can't write more about what you've not done. So that's just, I think I've only come across that difference on one or two occasions, but it's a very subtle thing. And most of the time, it's usually they just want the full story, which is why, like I said, I do the paragraph thing where I have a paragraph that talks about all these things and I give them the full story so that they can put it all together. If there's no word count, you can obviously write it a lot and give them to read. But if there's a word count limit, then you just have to break it down and put whatever is relevant. And it also depends on what exactly you're applying for. If you're applying for a scholarship and the scholarship has particular objectives, then you can decide to use that as your pointers. If you're applying for admission and the admission is for a taught master's degree, then you need to talk about the course itself. If you're applying for a research, then you need to talk more about the research you want to do. So these are just some of it's a circumstantial thing, but just know that the whole purpose of writing those statements is because they want an introduction to who you are. It is the kind of substitute for an interview. Some people call it a substitute for an interview. So instead of interviewing you to find out who you are or ask you some kind of questions, they just tell you to write this statement so that you can give them a kind of introduction. So you just introduce yourself to us. Why are you applying for this program? Just think of it that way.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add to that question?
Yeah, maybe I think I should also say that between the statement, the personal statement is actually aimed to elaborate more about yourself. And
Yeah.
someone need to be very careful if there are missing information. If you are filling an online form, and then there is a lot of information they want you to feed, maybe your background, maybe your research experience, whatever case. But then later on, they tell you you have to put your personal statement. It means it will be much better if they didn't define what to put. You better find an important information about you, which you believe is more relevant for the scholarship, and they have to know it. But in most cases, some of the scholarship, like the Commonwealth scholarship, that they actually have some sort of a structure. They just tell you that in a personal statement, you have to tell us about one, two, three, four. It's just the highlights of it. But in case you are not guided what to put in a personal statement, then you have to try to find somewhere where you believe that this kind of information had no chance to fill anywhere in the application form, but it is important for you to report. For instance, for mine, I got a chance to apply for a certain scholarship, and which actually I used it for the master's degree. And one of the gap in that scholarship is that it didn't have somewhere to write experience about my research. Therefore, it had some sort of other information like the school that you went on, the research project that you did. So, but then I used the opportunity for personal statement to explain about how best myself in the in the context of research. Therefore, personal statement to me, I always find it is like the last chance about in saying more about yourself. And if you have the so-called if you have scholarship that are tied with a project, that means you have also to explain how you are relevant to in relationship to the project. But also you may have some of a scholarship which they want to get somebody who have leadership experience or leadership potentials, etc. It means also your personal statement must highlight what they expect you to see. So in general, what I find is that for personal statement, first to understand what are the targets of that scholarship. But then you have to understand better yourself. What do you think are the values that can differentiate from another person about the same scholarship? So that's a little I can just add within this short period of time. I had short to get your discussion.
Okay, thank you so much. So before we go to the next question, so this is on the lighter note. So what if AI wants to help you write a personal statement? So what do you think?
Mm.
Hmm. Any
What if
response to that? AI
If AI wants to write a personal statement for
wants
you,
to end for you now. It knows you so well.
artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
Uh, First, to me, I believe artificial intelligence it is a tool,
Yeah.
but then you should be extreme careful on how to use it. To me, I believe it's better I write an essay properly about what I think I'm more, and then I can use artificial intelligence tools maybe to modify language and so like such kind of. But I wouldn't advise for somebody to totally ask maybe ChatGPT that okay, please lie to yourself about Paul. I don't find it that is that way. I think it's a tool that need to assist you from what you have. But we should remember that for personal statement, it should actually come from you. It shouldn't come from the literatures, etc. Because artificial intelligence tools, what they do, they actually use whatever similar information you are writing from the online source. And somewhere I tried to do that about the personal statement. You know what it did? It actually captured some of the information from Facebook, etc., about myself, about my names. But then, if you are smart enough, you'll be able to see some sort of a flaws if you use artificial intelligence tool to write about personal statement. So I wouldn't advise that one to start with artificial intelligence when you are preparing scholarship application document, but I would say you can apply it to modify your ideas that you have already created about it. For instance, if you are writing literature, if you use artificial intelligence tools like the ChatGPT, you can say maybe one, maybe two paragraph about maybe soil erosions and so on. Then it capture almost every information to bring you a very nice set, etc. But you won't have also a chance to know which reference you have used, where did it peak, the combination of the literature, etc. So to me, I think technology is okay, it's good, but we should have precautions when we are using it. There are somewhere people need to know who exactly is you. And I think using this kind of a tools, somebody can easily identify that somebody used this one. That's
Okay.
my opinion.
Thank you. Because you want to respond because you have questions and we are really almost out of time.
no,
You
I
have
think
anything
he said what he said what I had in
wait.
mind. It's a
Okay.
tool. You should use it the right way.
I just asked a question. I know it's a question other
No, it's
people
a good
might
question.
I don't
It's a good
ask the question. Okay, so I see some chats on LinkedIn. I don't know why it's not popping up on the YouTube page here, but yeah, one from Nigeria, hi to you. Success, hi to you. Osifa, hi to you. So we have questions on LinkedIn that are not popping up on the chat here. I don't know why. So let me first take the one that's on the chat. So this question goes, it says from Facebook, hi Bartolome. For someone who left school for a long time, how can he align with current scholarship trend, especially as most current scholarships have age limits and other eligibility criteria? Just let me start with this, and we can now respond to it. I'm happy that I'm happy that they mentioned what's it called, um, eligibility criteria. So if you know that already, there are scholarships that don't have age limits. So as long as you recognize that scholarship have eligibility criteria, you can look for scholarship that suits your criteria. That's the truth. And know what's even funny? Some scholarship have criteria, but they still have exceptional candidates that they still make it. They'll tell you, okay, we want to certain age group, but if you're exceptional, we can consider. It happens a lot. So you need to read this criteria. You need to explore. There are several scholarship. I'm not even sure Commonwealth have age limit. Do they have? I doubt. I don't know. I don't think they do. Commonwealth. Do they have age limit?
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure.
so. I
If
don't
they
think
have
so.
age limit, it should be beyond the age of retirement, maybe 70.
Yeah, because I know someone of 50 something that got a scholarship. He just finished his PhD. So I know. Just to mention, also, you said for someone who left school for a long time, I don't know what you are getting at, but if you mean how can you align with current scholarship trends? The good thing is that in between leaving school and applying, I believe you're working. So you can use your work experience can cover up for that. Or in between leaving school and scholarship, you must have taken some courses, possible professional courses, or you even volunteer or internship. So these are gaps that you can use to bridge that gap. Everybody must not come out from school and go for a scholarship. Some people can take a year gap. Some can go and work. Some can go for internship. So I think you just need to understand the scholarship and see how your lifestyle or what you have done can be packaged into the to apply. And one thing I can say is this: if you want to apply for this kind of scholarship or scholarship in general, you need to write down every day. Just write down anything about yourself you can remember. Write bullet points. Over time, you cannot develop it and build on it. You cannot just say to yourself, "I want to apply today," and you expect everything you've done to come to your memory. It doesn't work like that. Just write points down to help you, so that when you're ready to apply, you start building on those points. You might have done a lot of things that you cannot remember, but when you start writing points down over time, it start coming to memory. So anybody wants to respond? I don't know if I answer your question, but let me. But let's visit to book you articles.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice question. First, what I see is that he said for someone who left the school for a long time, so there is also something about the duration between the last degree or the last program he or she attended in the school. There are some scholarships. There are some scholarships that always limit that. Somebody who eligibility criteria, it includes somebody who completed the last degree not more than maybe 6 years. There are
Yeah,
some sort of other
yeah,
scholarship which,
same such. Yeah,
but at the same time, we have some of the scholarships which do have age limits. For instance, for a master's, they do limit of 35, and for PhD they put an age limit of 40. But also there are some master's program, for instance, for Japan Exit scholarship. For Exit scholarship, it have age limit. For a master's, they define that it is 35, and somebody should not be more than 35 in the enrollment year. But also it defined that somebody should not be more than 40 years for a PhD at a time when they'll be enrolled in a class. If you go to Chinese scholarship, majority of them, they have an age of 40, that anybody beyond 40, they cannot take for masters or for PhD. But just last week, I saw Indonesia scholarships, and in Indonesia scholarship, they actually have an age limit of 50. That whether you are applying for a master's or PhD, you will have an age limit of 50. And then there are some other scholarship which actually they limit age, maybe for PhD not more than 35, for masters not more than 30. There is a lot of reason to why they always provide for such kind of limitation. But then what somebody can do here is first to be knowledgeable enough of different types of scholarship and their requirement. For instance, in Europe, in UK, for instance, there are some scholarship that limit age. But also the last scholarship which are attached by project, for instance, it is a PhD. It's not a Commonwealth or it's not a Chevening scholarship, but then it's just a university have decided to announce maybe 5 PhD projects. In most cases, those kind of a project-based scholarship, they always value experience and they don't have age limits. So my advice to applicant is that when age change, you should also know what are the limitations are happening with you. For instance, if you are above 40 and above, you better stop maybe focusing on these merit-based scholarship like what you see, maybe the Chinese scholarship, etc., Chinese government scholarship, or the UK government scholarship, or the Fulbright, and so on. But you can also focus on project-based scholarship. Those are the one which they are always less competitive, but then at the same time, they value more somebody who have experience. So if they get somebody with 52 years who have worked on the activities that are related to the same project, they are likely to take that person than if you get somebody who have just recently graduated a master's with a higher GPA and so on with no work experience. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to know where you are, what are the opportunities you have, and also what are the limitations you have. In my understanding, even at age of 60, you can still get scholarship. But the question is, what kind of scholarship are you targeting? So I would advise most of the scholarship applicant to be able to explore as much as possible, to know that there are government scholarship, there are some organization scholarship, but also we have project-based scholarship or university-based scholarship. University-based scholarship are always not tied with the so-called age limit and the so like. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I think in the future section we can do maybe types of scholarship just to help people become aware. Information is important. Yeah. Good,
Yeah.
Buchi, thank you so much. You want to say something to that?
Uh, well, not really. I think you guys have said
Okay.
most of it all. It's just the same thing. It's information, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be good to have maybe a kind of platform where you can just go and fill your details and then it will bring out all the scholarship that match your
Mm,
criteria.
yeah.
But I've not seen something like that yet. But I'm sure with the emergence of AI, it shouldn't be far from us to get something like that.
Mm, mm,
But in
Yeah.
the meantime, when we don't have something like that, the best way is through the process of elimination. So you read this, you see it's not for you, you eliminate it, you take it off the table. Like Paulo has said, you have to know the kind of scholarships that fit your demographic
mm,
and target them. So, like as successfully pointed out, if you're looking at all those very strong merit-based scholarships, those ones usually target younger people. To be fair, they
Eh,
usually target younger people, but some of them
for
have
instance,
no.
for instance, just to add, I heard one of the university lecturer who had 52 years, and it was just last year. And at university, they actually define that if you are not progressing to PhD, then you will have to find alternative employment. Therefore, I advised the same that please don't go to Commonwealth, don't go to what. Let us look for PhD project and don't come with your research proposal. Let us say a PhD project with their research title and area of interest. Try to match with the supervisor's interest. You know what happened? It is in, I think it's Ghent University in Belgium, I think. uh, he applied for a PhD project and then he was successful. And unfortunately, he's being paid actually higher than even what he could receive in a Commonwealth scholarship and so on. So, to me, I find that knowing your limitations and what you can do and accepting what is there is actually the best way to shorten the struggle for this kind of scholarships.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
thank you so much. And just to add, the truth is this: you don't build Rome in a day or everything in a day. You need to start putting yourself out there, joining scholarship groups, attending webinars like this, or asking questions. Over time, you get to find what is suitable for you. You can't just
Yeah.
sit and wait it comes to drop on your table. It doesn't work like that. So the more you find yourself in this space, the more you become aware and know what opportunities are out there for you. So that's that. So we have a question on LinkedIn. I don't know why it's not popping up on the chat. The question is from Success, and it says, "Good evening, all. Please, can someone use an English proficiency letter gotten from the university they graduated from instead of an IELTS test for scholarship application?" So the person wants to know they can use this English proficiency letter instead of an IELTS for a scholarship application.
Okay, I think I'll answer this one by saying I used an English proficiency letter for all my applications.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I never wrote the IELTS. So I used an English proficiency letter. But because I didn't write the IELTS, just like the former point has been emphasizing, there are some applications I stayed away from because those ones needed the IELTS. So yeah, because I couldn't write it, I didn't have it. So when like I said, process of elimination, when I'm going through criteria, I see the IELTS, I put it in a pending box. I'll come back to you. If that box had gotten so filled up that most, and there was something there that I really wanted, then I would have started making plans to write the IELTS. But the point is, you can do the English proficiency. You mustn't always do the IELTS, but it will limit. If you don't have IELTS, it can also limit your chances. So it's really a personal decision on what you want to do.
Okay, that's great, but I have a kind of different perspective, or rather a different addition to it. So yes, I also didn't write IELTS, so I'm with you, Vicky. We actually went to the same school, the same department. So hi, Vicky. So for people to know, but just to mention this, there's something I did because I was also applying to schools in the US, and I applied to Harvard, MIT, and some other schools, and they wanted IELTS or TOEFL or this exam. And the truth is that they also gave some school gave exemption. You can apply for exemption, or rather apply for what's it called, for them to waive, waive the English or whatever,
Yeah, waive
all
the
the stuff.
requirement.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't mean it must be approved. So you just need to do your ask a lot of questions, make inquiries, email the graduate school. Don't you know? You must not always ask your core, because at times, as much as your core applicants might be knowledgeable, they don't know everything. They are not the school. So I always tell people, email the school, because at times we make wrong decision, or we not even take a decision at all by asking our colleagues. Now they're not bad, but they're telling you what they know, but they're not the school. So I always ask you, email the school. They are the best person can tell you yes or no. So that's just on the note. So that's just that. So any question? I think we are almost calling it tonight because we are going to be here tomorrow again. So if you have last questions or comments, so Bartolome said thank you for your response. You're welcome. So I think we actually assisted. We hope this our information is useful for you. So if you have questions, if not, you can call it a night and you can come in for tomorrow's section same time. So tomorrow is not we're not speaking about statement of purpose. It's just Q&A section. So any questions or maybe applications that you're not clear about, just come and ask your questions. So let me quickly check LinkedIn for any questions. So which you or if you have anything to mention at the meantime, just mention it. Let me just scan the LinkedIn page.
Maybe
Okay.
I can just add a little bit to the last issue of English language. First, I think depending on a scholarship, the scholarship, those who are providing scholarship or assessors, they actually do it based on what you supply in the application. There are some universities which actually, when you are filling the information for admission, there are somewhere they always ask, did you take this degree in English? You say yes or no. They always do that. Then the information that you are providing in the application process, they led into conclusion whether you should mandatorily submit an official English test or whether you can be waived and then you can be allowed just to provide the so-called English proficiency letter. I have seen that in the UK. I have tried to see in most different UK universities. There are some UK universities which are very strictly that if you are coming from a list of these countries, you must provide an English test. But there are some of the universities which they always check on your background. Whenever you are filling information, it track how many years you have spent maybe studying in English. If you exceed maybe 8 years, they actually provide option for just a recommendation letter for. But if you studied maybe less than 10, they actually recommend you for it. But also, some of the universities, they check on your transcripts. If your certificate and the transcripts were not written in English language, they are in Arabic, in Chinese, or whatever case, they will say that you are mandatory, you must submit an English language test. I had a discussion with two professors. One was from University of Dundee in Scotland, and another one was from Oxford Brookes University. I actually discussed how do you assess somebody, maybe he or she must provide an English test certificate. They said that depending on the origin of the person, you may be required to. But also there is a UK policy where some of the countries to get visa or whatever case you must have an English language test. So to me, what I see is that when you are applying for universities, you should also be careful. If you believe that you can fulfill the requirement for an English language test, then there are some university you can try even to apply for admission. For instance, for Commonwealth Scholarship, they have stated explicitly that Commonwealth Scholarship does not require for an English language test. Although they put another statement that some universities in the UK, they actually require an English language test. Therefore, it's up to an applicant to decide, to explore better. If you can get similar program that you really wanted at Cambridge, you can get it at Newcastle University, where they don't consider that one. That could be much better. But what I see is that first, you should provide informations that can help you even when you're asking for English language exemption, you can be considered for it. But second, also knowing universities and their requirement. Don't assume that maybe if you go in German, it's mandatory to have German language for all universities. You should know. And the information in the internet are very open. Universities that require English test, universities that do not require formal English test. If you are smart enough, you can be able to identify it right from the beginning to know that let me take this choice and this choice because I will not suffer on this one. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was an important point because it all boils down to the type of information that you have at the end of the day. If you and also writing the English test does not guarantee that you have an admission. So
Yes.
you need to decide, is this my dream university? Do they require this test? It's a personal decision. You take the test and go for it. Or if you don't want to take the test, you can find other options that require you not to take the test. But like you said, some circumstances also arise. Sometimes they accept a letter from your employer if you're working in a recognized, internationally recognized institution that works in English language. Maybe you work for an international organization or a multinational or something. Your employer writing that you work with them and people work using the English language can also go. You can get the English proficiency from your previous program, but it also depends on the time gap. If you graduated from the university 17 years ago, an English proficiency letter from that university might be too old because 17 years ago is a very long time. So it's also one of those things you consider. Sometimes they take the A levels or O levels result if you did English language with a pass mark, but it also depends on the age of that result. How long ago was this? So some of those things are just things that you can use. But the most important advice is always ask. Like Ejiro said, always ask. I think the most important thing that you can do for yourself to avoid a lot of stress is if you can get access to the person that's making the decision to ask your question, ask that person. Because if you ask me, and I've had my experience with these people, and they told me I have to bring the test, and then that was in 2022, and we're in 2024, and the policy might have changed. So you don't know, so you won't use my experience to discard yourself. You need to also, if you can also ask. My experience can give you an indication or a guide, but ultimately, if you can get first-hand information from the person that is going to make that decision, it is always the best option to go for. So you can also consider doing that, and make use of the emails. The emails, if you check the internet, the emails are always there. If you can make a phone call and you see a phone number, you can also call to ask. Don't be scared. It's not going to ruin your chances. It's not going to count you out of the race. It's always good that you inquire for this information. You can even ask them the reason why they will not accept this from you, and you can try to justify it to you or not. Sometimes you may the person that responded to your email is responding, gives you a standard reply, and then you may ask for a reason why, and then it will be escalated to the supervisor or to the senior person, and that person might take a different decision based on other circumstances, because the first person that got back to you maybe doesn't have as much experience. So those kind of things also happen. So you should also think about it. So always take the chance. I think that's my own advice. Yeah. Ejiro, do we still have any more questions?
No, we don't, which is a good thing. That means you understand, hopefully. So, just to say this, thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll be here tomorrow again, same time, 6 p.m. GMT. So, you can convert that time in your time zone. So, we had people from Zambia, Uganda, Malawi. This is amazing. So, Nigeria. So, that's great. So, please, tomorrow's section, if you have questions or you just do your research, look at applications you're not sure of, come back and ask questions. So tomorrow we don't have any topic at hand, but we're yet to answer your questions. So you determine the topic, you determine the flow of the conversation tomorrow. So in this note, I want to ask out to my two colleagues to drop any final notes and call it a night.
Thank you. I think that'd be nice.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to add. I'll just say because we are here tomorrow. So
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. But do your research and take the first step so that you can actually have more questions to ask. Because I know as you take more action, you'll get more questions coming. It's the start of a new month, so you can also use this opportunity to push some of the goals that you set and take some serious action on them. Don't keep postponing. Start your applications, start your research, even if it means just opening your browser and typing the Google question, and then open the tabs, click on those links, open the tabs, flood your browser, bookmark everything, and then know that you have work to do, that you're coming back to read this website, you're coming back to read that website, you're coming back to check this out.
Exactly.
By the time you start downloading the information, it begins to make more sense. You begin to see the kind of questions that can arise, and you begin to get more information on us that are speaking, because there are some things that you will find out that I don't know when you begin to take the journey. Yeah. And so you'll be able to also give answer to some of the questions that we may not even be able to answer. It's one of those good things. Because some of us are working on information from the past. When you go on Google today, you will see the most updated information. Yeah. So it's also take that as a challenge, Try to do those things. You see yourself with more information than you actually thought you can find.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And just to add to this, please, now one of the reasons why we have these sections, because we observed that in the last application cycle of Commonwealth sharing, a lot of people were like doing fire brigade approach. always rushing, and but they don't get people to help them mentor them. They feel they lost confidence, they lost motivation. So this program is to help you prepare before the cycle starts again. So and help you build confidence, because most people did not get like some mentors to review the essay and they felt bad. But if you start building your momentum, build your confidence, you might not need a mentor to review your essays for you. You'll be fine. But you need to start early. 1 hour a week is nothing. It's okay. It helps a lot than waiting to the last minute. But the last minute you might be so busy with other commitments and you won't have enough time.
Yeah.
So this
And I think maybe that's a good plan, and I really appreciate for your initiative. And I think for this year we should really prepare some sort of a series of mentorship. So that once it reach maybe in August or in September, where a majority of a scholarship like Chevening, Commonwealth, and then many other in Australia are open, people will actually have some sort of information too. I think this is most important, especially for we from Africa, as there are many opportunities in Europe, in America, but the problem is that people do not have information, but also they get less opportunity to learn from experienced people. Therefore, I really appreciate your initiative, and maybe because we are still in the beginning of the year, let us plan for something big, which actually it can have an impact at the end.
Yeah. So actually, it's not just me, which is also there. So which is an amazing. As a matter of fact, because you might not know this, we have some scholarship group, and Buchi is the people's mentor. As I don't know how he does it, so he's the people's mentor. He really have their time, which is amazing. But I love what you said. I think not just waiting. Apart from what we are doing now, we can also once in a while bring in other scholarships that are upcoming towards the end of the year, and have like pre-sections so people can start getting more familiar with the whole thing. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Very well. We'll work towards that. Buchi, I hope you heard him.
Yeah. Let's build the library.
Yeah, we'll work towards that. Yeah, and just to add to that, this topic for today emerged from the last week webinar. Now somebody talked about SOP. So another thing we do is that from this webinar, so from this discussion, when we see some trending issues, we now take it out and make it like a section on its own. So we also need them to be there to ask the question, because we want to give them what they need, not what we want. It's what they need we're after. Then we are helping. So yeah, so that's it. So thank you so much. I think, is that all? Should we call it a night?
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks everyone. Those on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Thank you so much, and join us same time tomorrow with your questions. And thank you so much. Bye everyone.
Yeah. Bye.